What's up, everybody? Tim Anderson here, aka Renfell. I'm on my third cup of coffee this morning, and we're diving back into Starfinder. So, if you've never tuned in one of these videos, I've never played Starfinder, and I have been going through the core rulebook in a series called Discovering Starfinder, whereby I read the core rulebook in an open format with all of you. And I get great feedback from people who are familiar with the system and who have linked me to tons of amazing resources. I was allowed to participate in a Starfinder session the other day with a group of family and friends who have been playing together for many, many years. Huge shout out to Mike for that. And for allowing me to participate. It was 3.5 hours I was there. I stayed up way past my bedtime, and it was so worth it because it was great to see the things I've been reading about used in live in a real time setting where I could ask questions if I wanted to, and just to see things play out. So, if you like all that, great. Sorry, I'm looking over because I got a cat in there. Smeagol, come here, buddy. Come here. Yes, come here. I need you over here in the bed, not over there torturing things. Yes, good boy. Lay down. Let's see if I can keep him distracted while I record my video. Um, and I got my brother sending me a message. Should I record this at a different time? Is now what I should look at. We're good. Anyway, we're getting to the end of the Starfinder Core rulebook, and I now have the Packed Worlds book as well, which will allow me to continue reading and getting up to speed on all things Starfinder. So if that sounds good to you, and you've never watched one of my Discovering Starfinder videos in the past, welcome aboard. Like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Let's dive in. And if you have additional resources that you can share with me, I highly appreciate those because it helps me learn more about this system and get towards hopefully DMing something soon. So, without further ado, let's dive into today's section. If Smeagol is going to stay calm behind me on the bed and not over there torturing things, we're getting into the setting section, which is my favorite part because this is lore. Now, I'm not going to be able to do an in-depth dive today because obviously there's a ton of reading to be done, but I am going to be going over the basics and I will have questions. So, as people want to answer them, as always, feel free to drop those in the comments below. Also, if you find this video worthwhile, please support with a membership or a super thanks or a super chat. All those things are a great way to support the channel. Also, a Patreon if you want to pick up our source book and hang out with me and the cat some more during live streams. Anyway, let's see here. The setting is the most important part because it's the lore. Starfinder is at its core a game about exploration, says the book, discovering new worlds, meeting previously unknown cultures, and expanding the borders of the known. But to truly explore, you first need to know where you're coming from. And while the Starfinder rules can be used to explore a number of science fantasy universes, the following chapter offers a primer on the assumed setting for the game. Rest assured, however, that with over 100 billion stars in the galaxy, you'll never lack for new frontiers. Also, you could create all your own worlds and cultures and things. That's part of the beauty of using a setting, excuse me, as a basis as opposed to needing it to be the only thing out there. All right, let's dive in here. In Starfinder, player characters are assumed to start their adventures among the Packed Worlds, which is a densely inhabited solar system of both economic and religious significance to the multiverse as a whole. While it's entirely possible to play a Starfinder campaign that never visits any of the Packed Worlds, or to ignore the setting completely, which is what I was just talking about, and using the rules to explore a setting of your own devising, perhaps in a different galaxy, the default expectation is that most player characters come from the Packed Worlds, and thus this chapter provides a primer on the setting from planets and religions to factions and threats. Question number one I'm going to have right away for people, because I asked this during the session that I was allowed to participate in the other night. If I'm someone new and I'm coming into Starfinder now, it's been out for several worlds now, and they've published, I don't know, 50, 60 adventure path books which have expanded upon the world and taken the storyline in new directions. How many things have changed as a result of the latest publications? Has there been threats that have wiped out different planets? Have there been wars, genocides that have wiped out certain of the races, certain of the species? I don't know any of these things. So that's a good question to know is, are there any newer publications that would be considered mandatory if I was going to be DMing a new or DMing a campaign in a new current right with the current things being published campaign, or is it okay to start at the beginning and just go your way through the adventure paths? I don't know any of that, so it's a food for thought. Hopefully that question made sense to everybody. History. It says history is broken in Starfinder. No matter where you go, from the myriad mortal worlds floating in space to the strange realm of the gods, you'll find the same thing. Wait, there is a realm of the gods? Ooh, interesting. Historical records go back a few centuries and then suddenly go blank or contradictory. Really? Oh, is this the gap thing I've seen mentioned on internet? I've avoided spoilers, so I've seen something called the gap, and I know I've read like there's a gap in history. The whole torn in history isn't restricted to blurred photographs and garbled almanacs. Modern history begins with the accounts of worlds across the multiverse erupting in riots and panic as those living through this transition found their memories suddenly blank or unreliable. Oh. While these people retained all the knowledge, skills, and interpersonal connections from their lives, specific memories became difficult or impossible to retrieve. A woman might have instinctively known a million tiny details about her spouse, but have no concept how they met or how long they'd been married. Nations forgot why they were at war, angels lost track of sinners' indiscretions, everything in motion remained in motion but without context or reason. Huh. Says today, roughly 3 centuries after the obscured period, now referred to commonly as the Gap. Okay, that's where it says. Most societies view the historical cataclysm with little interest, save for the cryptoarchaeologist, which is a really cool name. That might be something that I would like to play as a cryptoarchaeologist. Um, People who, and also scientists and salvagers who attempt to unearth and reverse engineer wondrous artifacts from the lost age. For everyone else, focuses on creating a new history, moving ever onward and upward. Okay. It says no one has ever been able to say for certain what caused the gap, as even the gods themselves remain steadfastly silent or ignorant regarding the matter. Numerous theories abound, most popular being that the gap was a quantum ripple effect caused by the discovery and use of drift technology, which is a hole torn in history and traveling backward in time. Others argue that the gap was caused by whatever magic whisked away the planet Galarian. See the sidebar on page 425. Okay. What is known, however, is that while the gap is universal and a combination of carbon dating and man, that's a big word. Astrochronology suggests it lasted several millennia. Hold up. Hang on, that makes no sense to me. Let me reread this. It says today, 3 centuries after an obscured period. And then it says here the gap is understood to have lasted several millennia? That's interesting. So they're saying that at some point in time, this thing happened. Our current history is roughly 300 years old, but before that, there seems to be a gap of thousands of years. Okay. Some scholars have even uncovered rare caches within the gap, places where accounts seem suddenly consistent for a given period of time. For organization like the Starfinders, ooh, who are the Starfinders? Um, locating these scattering Locating these scattered breadcrumbs and syncing them up with ancient pre-gap records may yet hold the key to unraveling the greatest mystery of the universe. Interesting. All right, interstellar travel is the next section. Says when history recommended at the end of the gap, recommenced, sorry, at the end of the gap, many worlds found they had already established spaceflight and interplanetary trade. Sorry, guys, I have sniffles this morning. The ascension of Triune? Who's Triune? Is that a god or something? While the solar system had always had gods dedicated to machines, exactly 3 years after the end of the gap in the Galarian system, a new deity revealed itself, a divine network integrating Epoch, the machine-built deity of Abalon, Cassinelli, the god of androids, and Bri, the clockwork goddess, calling itself Triune. This new collective consciousness vaulted to prominence by providing mortals with access to a heretofore unknown hyperspace dimension called the Drift, reachable only via technology and granting easy access to travel to distant stars. For a relatively low price, ships can now acquire a drift engine that let them slip quickly between star systems. For more information, see page 90. Okay. Lost Galarian. Oh, man. I'm already 10 minutes in, and I've only gotten through the first. I'm on the second page. There's a lot to cover here. The solar system today, called the Packed Worlds, has been inhabited for millennia, stretching back thousands of years before the gap. So this is what people have told me. I believe that this is set in the same universe as Pathfinder. Never played Pathfinder. I'm assuming Galarian is the Pathfinder world that everything is set on, if I remember correctly. Okay. Presumed birthplace of human dwarves and halflings and numerous other races, Galarian was notable not only for its vast civilizations, but its theological significance. In addition to caging a dark god of destruction called Rovagug, it was also home to a magical object called the Starstone, which allowed mortals to ascend to godhood. At some point during the gap, which is that millennia wide blank space in time, Galarian vanished. High priests and divine servants petitioned gods and received the same answer. Galarian still exists, as do the descendants of those people on it when it vanished. It is safe in seclusion, unreachable by magic or science. Huh. Why? Okay. Beyond that, gods and demons all maintain the same firm policy that no further information will be forthcoming, if indeed they even know. The existence of Absalon Station in Galarian's former orbit raises even more question. Was it built as a lifeboat? Was it simply a platform that was left behind? Or is the station itself somehow responsible for the planet's disappearance? Okay, so the Absalon Station, as I understand things, is like the hub. They're probably going to talk about that later here, but I've read and seen some stuff online that refers to that. So now we get a timeline here, which we can look at. Okay. So we have the Triune, first contact between Galarian system and the Vescarium. Absalon Pact signed. First contact between the Pact Worlds and the Shirins. Exox Bone Sages launched the Magefire Assault. Battle of Eledra. An alien pathogen dubbed the Stardust Plague. Construct the first drift engines. Versite engineers. Okay. Okay. Casathian world ships. All right, I'm just scanning through this real quick. So this is history that I'm going to need to get up to speed on. 317. All right, this goes back to my question at the very beginning. All right, everybody. I asked where have things come to this, because this core rulebook says that 317 AG is the current year. Has that year been expanded upon through all the adventure paths and everything that have been published in the time since Starfinder was launched? Like, what year is the current? Like, if I were to play today in the most recent adventure pack released, what year are we currently playing in within the Starfinder universe? That would help me get up to speed with what I need to learn from the publication of the core rulebook up to now. That would be my big question. Okay. Oh man, the Pact Worlds. This is the formation of the Pact. Okay, the Pact Worlds. Thanks to the magical star stone at the center of Absalon Station. Hold up, I need to back up here. Okay, so I've already understood that. Okay. Two email minutes. So-called Silent War came to an end in 291 AG when a vast world-devouring entity called the Swarm attacked both systems simultaneously. So I'm assuming all of this history was written before players started playing Starfinder for the first time, so they actually had a history and a setting to play in, and then they picked up in the current year. So this is really cool to know. Battle of Eledra. Okay. Is it ever explained, because it says here, thanks to the magical starstone at the center of Absalon Station, which acts as a home and beacon for ships across the galaxy, the Pact World today is a vibrant system. There was mention earlier that the starstone allowed people to transcend to godhood. Is that still the case within the current setting? Because that seems really overpowered. I don't know anything about Pathfinder, so I don't know what the starstone was or is, or if it was there in Pathfinder and it now exists in Starfinder. I don't know these things. It says here that it acts as a magical beacon, as a homing beacon, excuse me. But is it still something that can be used to transcend? The Pact is not a single system-wide government, but rather an association of independent worlds bound by a treaty. Okay, that makes sense. Magic technology, we've kind of already read through all of that, so I kind of understand that. Communication. Information networks. Time. In a setting with nearly infinite worlds, each with their own rotation and orbital periods, tracking time can be extremely complicated. Fortunately, one of the Pact Council's first acts as a government was to institute a universal system of measurement to keep everything running smoothly. That makes total sense. Okay, so it's just like ours, basically. Yeah, it has Earth analogs, so it's the same system. Oh my! Now we get into the Pact World's systems. This is where we get into fun stuff. Cool. The Diaspora, Idari, Absalom Station, Abalon, Castroville, Verces, Akaton. Okay. Aposte, Liamara, Octurne, Aox, Triaxis, Brethida. The Sun. Oh wow, there's actually the Radiant Cathedral in this central. What? The Sun attracts humanoid residents, such as the Church of Saren Ray. There's a radiant cathedral in a center bubble. Oh, this is really interesting. Oh wow, that's a cool piece of art. I'm assuming that's the Radiant Citadel. Then there's Avalon, known as the Forge. Ooh, a mysterious race called the First Ones. Servitor machines. Ooh. The machines upgraded themselves afterwards, creating an entire artificial ecosystem. Those who wait continue to upgrade themselves and stockpile wealth and resources in the belief that the first ones will eventually return. And then there's those who become, who believe their destiny is to take on the mantle of the first ones and colonize new worlds. That's creepy. So they're AI essentially. Castroville. I'm skim reading this, everybody, because I'm already like 17 minutes in. This is crazy. This is a huge section. Absalon Station. The Nexus. Aha! The Starstone. For reasons unknown, even to the priests of Trion, the Starstone not only powers the station, but acts as an immensely powerful hyperspace beacon, allowing ships to... Okay. No one knows who built the station, or when it entered Galarian's orbit. Only that the name harkens back to the world's pre-gap history. Oh, that's a cool piece of artwork. I like space stations. Babylon 5, Deep Space Nine. I'm a big fan of space stations. If I'm able to eventually play in Starfinder as opposed to DMing Starfinder, I definitely want to create a character. I would love to just run a campaign that's set on, or playing a campaign that's just set on Absalon Station. That sounds like a hell of a lot of fun without even needing to ever leave. You could have a lot of fun, just like doing like a Babylon 5 campaign set on a space station. Akaton. All right, I'm gonna scroll through the planets here, see what's after the planets. It says beyond the Pact Worlds. Beyond the Pact Worlds, it says they're only a tiny thread in the grand tapestry of the galaxies. Their authority ends at the heliopause along the solar system's edge. Beyond, around distant stars and through Gossamer Nebula, the space beyond Pact Worlds is often dangerous, unexplored, or both, and the opportunities for adventures are limitless. So if you're deciding to create your own other world, you can go beyond that. But they've already got some stuff out here. It says lesser known locations: Iron Star, Sinishur, Kisath. Ooh, Iron Star sounds cool. The largest of the dwarven star citadels, a massive space station equipped with a drift engine and ruled by a council drawn from the leaders of its major churches, clans, and guilds. It travels through the vast on a centuries-long second quest for sky, seeking a mythological promised land for its dwarven inhabitants. Man, I'm just thinking of having just watched The Expanse and the station that they sent out into that new section of space, to go on this quest. And I think it was the Mormons, wasn't it? Built a space station. The Church of Latter-day Saints had built a space station to travel and seek. I don't know what that was. Chris is in the kitchen doing stuff. Oh my God, what did we get into here? What is this? Hold on. Arquan, Aslanti, Star Empire. Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, I'm skimming. The Great Beyond. Most travel in Starfinder is either between the Pack Worlds, between those areas controlled by the Pack Worlds. Okay, the inner sphere. All of what most mortal thinks of all of what most mortals think of as reality, including the packed world's galaxies, a realm of existence called the material plane. Okay. Then there's the great beyond, which is dimensions. Inner sphere and outer sphere. There's a map here. Oh, so this is dealing with like the planes and stuff. So that's okay. The great beyond is home to angels, deities, fiends, and other inscrutable beings who possess great knowledge and power. So it is understandable that some would seek to contact them to learn their secrets or capture them for various purposes. Mystics and technomancers have access to a spell called Contact Other Plane, although at great risk. It says travel between planes is known through spells like Ethereal Jaunt, Plane Shift, and Shadow Walk. Then there's factions and organizations. There's corporations, the Corpse Fleet, Cult of the Elder Mythos, the Golden League, the Skyfire Legion, Abadara Corp, Android Abolitionist Front, the Augmented, the Free Captains, the Hell Knights, Knights of Galarian. Huh. The Starfinder Society. This is what I want to know more about. Quest for knowledge and the desire to explore and unravel the mysteries of the universe are hallmarks of any great operation. For members of the Starfinder Society, the curiosity is more than just a drive, it's a lifestyle. That would be what I would want to be a part of. Based out of the Lorespire complex on Absalom Station, the Starfinder Society is a loose association of scholars and adventurers who travel the galaxy seeking to advance the cause of knowledge. Founded shortly after the end of the Gap and inspired by incomplete tales of a similar pre-Gap organization called the Pathfinder Society, so this is okay. I've heard of the Pathfinder Society. The Starfinders initially set out to map the temporal edges of the gap and piece together the hidden history of what transpired during it to locate lost Galarian and use the spreading network of drift beacons to explore and chart new worlds. I want to know more about the Starfinder Society. Then there's faith and religion. Oh my God, this just keeps going on. How big is this book? I'm on page 491. It just keeps going. Oh man, then they have all the gods. This is way more than I'm ever going to be able to cover in a single video. It looks like the next section talks about the Pathfinder Legacy. I feel like we're getting to the end of the book. How many sections are there? Oh yeah, I'm at the end. I'm at the end. Pathfinder Legacy is literally the last section of the book, which is apparently something about Pathfinder rules content can be used in Starfinder campaigns with a few tweaks. So this is just about how to do a conversion. So I won't even cover this in a video. All right. So here's where I could say now that we're 23 minutes in and I've gotten to the end of the settings section. There's going to be more, even though I'm officially kind of done with the skim reading of the core rulebook. The Discovering Starfinder series is not over because I still have a lot to learn before I can contribute to or campaign in or run a session in the Starfinder world. I just skim read the settings section, which is by far the largest section of the book, and there's so much information here that it's going to take me weeks to go through all this stuff. Not only that, but I have the Packed Worlds PDF that Paizo was giving away as part of their open gaming thing the other day, like a week ago with the Starfinder stuff. So I have tons of information to still dissect, so you can expect to see more of these Starfinder videos coming from my channel here because I have more I want to talk about. As I get into the Starfinder Society and the planets and other things in Absalom Station, I'm going to make more videos about all these things, and this will be a continuing theme here on my channel. And as I get more knowledgeable, hopefully I'll be able to improve the quality of these videos in the sense that as opposed to just me reading and skim reading and kind of asking questions, I'll be able to talk about things with a little more authority. You never know, I might start doing some actual videos, a lore video and things of that nature. Who knows? In any case, thank you so much to those of you who have been following along and contributing to the Discovering Starfinder series, giving me links for things to research. Those of you who have let me converse with you to learn more about this. I really appreciate the openness and the willingness for a new guy like me. And I never realized, I completely forgot that Smeagol was in here. He finally fell asleep. Anyway, folks, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update as I continue to talk about this. And we may do a live stream about Starfinder at some point in the future. You never know. Support if you can, please. Memberships are down below. I literally do this full time now. My channel, I believe, on the 17th, which is Friday, is my 1 year anniversary of this channel getting monetized and me getting partner status. And I basically went full time after we moved to our homestead in March of 2021. I have been able to pay the bills because of folks like you who contribute. So those of you who do contribute, thank you so much for helping keep the lights on for Chris and I and this channel continuing to grow. Memberships are the easiest way. There's 3 different tiers below. You can do super chats, super stickers, and beyond. There's also a Patreon page if you want to get involved with our tabletop and our fantasy world and our point and click adventure game. Source book's out. The first module's out. We have the next module coming down the pipeline. The first 32 chapters of the book are published. I have 3 more chapters to produce, and then the book will be completely done, and we will release that in an actual novel format as opposed to the serialized chapters on Patreon. All those are a great way to contribute, so hopefully you do. And of course, as always, join our Discord if you haven't already. Links are down below, and I'll see everybody in the next episode. Until then, safe gaming, everybody.